Well, in one of your essays, you write, "My own way of discussing the work of others then has been improvised and not grounded in any philosophy or theory other than the lack of philosophy or theory." What are the benefits and difficulties of that approach?
Well, I want always to have a very human voice and not a pedagogical voice or a dialectical voice or a lit crit voice.
Yeah.
I don't want any official vocabulary to obscure my perceptions or my discussion of something. So I really just want to be an ordinary person looking at something, and I don't want to be an academic writer.
And while reading See What Can Be Done, it surprised me. I have read in the past some pieces that you've written about television, but seeing the whole thing together, it gave me the sense that you've been watching television.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So people have said to me, "Oh, you watch a lot of television," and I say, "Actually, I don't. But everything I watched, I wrote about."
Yeah.
So I really didn't. I don't watch a lot of television. Although I once heard a writer say to another writer who was complaining about the loneliness of writing in the house, and he said, "Turn the television on in the next room, so that there's human voices." I don't know why he didn't say radio, because maybe there's too much music, too much news and music, but just the idea that there might be people in the next room talking about things, their family or whatever, will keep an idea that you're living in a family and not all by yourself. I thought that was an interesting idea. I'd never do that.
Well, but that's what actually Manuel Puig used to do. That's why his novels are full of voices entering and exiting.
Right. Yes. Right. There's so many movies and things. Yeah. I know.
But why did you start writing about television?
I started writing about television. I wasn't watching television at all, and I started to hear literary people talk about The Wire. And how terrific it was. Even Barack Obama, when he was running for president, was talking about The Wire. I think that was the last season of The Wire, maybe, when he was running. And it wasn't a popular show. It didn't have a big audience at that time. And then I went to England, and everybody was talking about The Wire. And I had started watching it, and I became obsessed. So I had a summer where I was just immersed in The Wire, and I asked Bob Silvers, I said, "Would you like a piece on The Wire?" He said, "Sure, we'd love that." He was very nice, he was very open. He was open to me at any rate, but I don't think the New York Review of Books had any piece on television before.
I guess when you started reading, people read books and watched television for to be entertained, and I feel that these days less people seek for entertainment in books as they used to see back in the past, and like Netflix is where everyone is looking for entertainment.
Right.
So is more challenging to entertain people in books these days? Is that something that is losing? It's getting more.
Well, I don't think that literary fiction was ever designed to be entertainment. There have been some interesting overlaps, I suppose, where it did work. And of course, Shakespeare was an entertainer. But mostly I think they are writing serious art, serious narrative art. It's not about forget your troubles, sit down, be entertained. It's not that. So it's never really been in competition with entertainment. What the internet has done, it seems to me, is created a lot of intimate sharing that isn't art and it might be personal narrative, but it's not precisely art. It's put up in a hurry. It's put forward to as catharsis or aggression, or I mean, there's lots of intimate sharing. Maybe that has its social uses. I'm not sure what its artistic uses are yet, or what its artistic impact is. I don't know. But it definitely is having an effect, or will have an effect.
Well, finally, does literature have any social use or function?
Yes and no. Does literature? Well, it records the human mind and the human heart and human society. There's this great record, and the human imagination. And so many things get expressed and preserved there. It's a very, I don't know, I'm about to say, it's the most mental of the arts, but that sounds like I'm saying mental. Like,
she's mental.
But it might be also that, the most mental. Because it's a brain, it's a voice, it combines almost all the arts together in one. I mean, music in some ways, of course, is the supreme art. It's just completely abstract. But literary art contains music. It contains the visual in that it's paying a lot of attention to the visual and having to use language as its tools. But it contains the visual arts. It contains music, and it's concerned with architecture. I mean, the architecture it has to consider as narrative is probably not dissimilar to the architectural arts in many ways. Not as complicated, but so and yet it's also very simple and available. It raises questions without answering them. That's good.
That's good.
That's good, because there's too many easy answers.
Well, thank you for your time, Lorrie.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for all your thoughtfulness.